Welcome to Hypnosis Health Info. I'm Roger Moore. You know, I've certainly talked before and have written before about exercise and reasons to exercise and motivation for exercise, but this last weekend I had an experience that just really locked in for me one of the reasons why I love to exercise and why it's so important, such an important part of my life. And about 2 weeks ago, we had a number of diseased trees cut down on our yard and our neighbor's yard, and I spent the previous weekend splitting wood, split about 4 cords of wood and big huge monster rounds and moving those around and throwing a big pile in the driveway, and then Saturday had begun the process of stacking the wood. And the first thing I did was I got up and went for a bike ride Saturday morning and had a great bike ride, and came home and spent the day stacking wood and pushing the wood up the hill to where I was going to stack it, and my wife got in the process and helped, and even Luna, our dog, was carrying sticks up there, and Saturday night was pretty tired. Got up Sunday morning, but first thing I did was I got on my bike and I went for a bike ride. And I'm cruising along down the road. I was going about 18, 19 miles an hour, and came up close to a stop sign, and I could see in my mirror that there was somebody coming up behind me, and we got to the corner and it was clear, and I hollered out clear, and we were around the corner and he started to pass me, and this was a guy that I would guess was about maybe 19, 20 years old, and I'd seen him riding before, and so I kind of recognized him, and don't know his name or anything, but he apparently is quite an active cyclist. I would guess he does a lot of distance stuff, perhaps some racing, just based on how he was dressed and how well he rode, and so we were on a fairly flat straight and a little bit of a headwind, and there was places where there was a slight incline, and I started drafting him. There was about a foot between his rear wheel and my front wheel, and we were just cruising along and 22, 23 miles an hour and just going right along, and then we came to another stop sign, and he was going to go straight and I was turning right. And I hollered out to him and I said, "Thanks for the lift." And he says, "No worries, no problem." And then he stopped and he turned around and he said, "Dude, how old are you?" And I kind of chuckled and I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, I tried to lose you and I couldn't. You stayed right with me." He says, "I'm impressed." And I laughed and I said, "Why? Because I'm so old?" And he got all kind of sheepish, and he said, "Well, how old are you?" And I said, "Well, let's just put it this way. I have 5 granddaughters. The 2 oldest ones have graduated from high school, so you figure it out." And he just looked at me and shook his head, and I got off and headed off to the right, and he went on straight. But from that moment on, I could just feel every cell of my body giggle and laugh, and there was this joy in my heart, and as I pedaled, and I laughed. I rode about 20, 22 miles and total Sunday morning, and I laughed the rest of the ride. And I came home all excited and just giggling, and told my wife about it, and then when that was done, I got showered and cleaned up, and then put on my grubby clothes and back out to stack more wood and finish stacking those 4 cords, and then after that was done, I had to work on our water sprinklers, and I mowed the lawn, and I did all these physical activity things and did fine. Had plenty of stamina, plenty of strength, and also after stacking wood, having been on a bike ride on Saturday, having stacking wood all day Saturday, to get up and go for that bike ride Sunday morning, and to be able to ride with that kid for a ways. Now I don't know if I could have done it for a long distance or not. We rode together maybe 2-3 miles, but at some point, had we been on a century ride, he probably would have blown me off. But as it was, I was able to stay with him. And having that joy, that laughter, that giggle that radiated through my body, that's what makes getting up in the morning and going to the gym and exercising worthwhile. That's what makes going to the spin classes during the winter time and days when I can't get out on my bike, that's what makes it all worthwhile, is it gives me the ability to do those types of things, to keep up, to feel good about it, to have just absolute joy and fun with it. So get out and move your body and discover, as a result of exercise, the things that you can do in your life that bring that joy, that laughter, that giggle. Maybe it's just going for those walks and building up the stamina so that you can take your kids to Disneyland or your grandchildren to Disneyland and spend 1 day, 2 days, 3 days walking Disneyland and having a great time and being able to keep up with the grandkids. Now, keeping up with grandkids, believe me, I know is tiring, but it's sure joyful and it's sure fun to chase those little kids around and play with them. So get out and move your body. Discover your reasons, your motivators for exercise. I'm Roger Moore, and this is Hypnosis Health Info.